and motherfucker. Damn it, man. Winter wanted to come back for a hot second. Well, I looked at my fucking temperature before when I left the door, realized it felt kind of cold. I was like, shit, man, it's 30 fucking degrees outside. It's like it could fucking snow if it wanted to. I mean, it's actually a bright, beautiful fucking day, right? It's very interesting the way the season persists against the sun, right? You know, I mean, we've already passed the equinox, right? And since the equinox, we've had more spring days than winter days, but it hasn't been a real script flip. Yeah, early April never is. You know, the winter finally fucking keels over and dies. Typically when we hit Taurus. Around the time we hit Taurus. Which Taurus could in fact be more appropriate for the new year than Aries in the zodiac, just because of sidereal, just because of the sidereal things, right? Because you know, our tropical system is not where the stars are in the sky. It's where they were in the sky in the paradise time, right? And it's a remodernized version of a more primal astrology. Remodernized, naturally, because it's working with the nine. I'm sorry. Fuck you. Pluto's a planet. The 9. This traffic is retarded and now I'm getting beeped at. Yeah, buddy. Shut the fuck up and let me be safe. Alright. You and your GMC. Don't taunt me. Fucking A. Now you can wait behind a string of pearls. Alright, you found your time in one fucking run. Anyway, Yeah. So my point is that the sun is going to enter Aries in sidereal astrology. Not true sidereal, where we're fucking changing all the sizes of the zodiac signs, but just in basic stuff. And I'm not so sure how I ultimately feel about every aspect of true sidereal. You know, only because, you know, I really act much more you know, like my tropical side, right? It's comfortable, it suits me very well, right? But like I've talked about this a billion times. I'm not even interested in talking about chart reconciliation right now, right? So but I'm just making the mere point about the fact that this weather really makes its hard stop in the month of May, right? You know, April is much more of a thawing process kind of month. Yeah, so the cold weather was cold yesterday too. I think it's supposed to peak like near 50 degrees today, so not gonna work out. But otherwise, just in case you might be a person who spends time in New York City, I found out that there's a high likelihood that the New York City subway system is going to temporarily close. Talk about reset for New York City, right? Because the federal government, the Don, is not going to give them money to do the next thing that they want to do, the next project they want to do for the city. Because they won't stop the entrenched, organized, or just mere, just the presence of crime, just the presence of criminal persons, right? People amongst the lower class and the loitering lower class. Spending time occupying space, homeless persons as well, just like, it's turning into an underground criminal need to make those places safe. And those ears across the board in that fucking world are very far away from hearing principles of natural law that would eventually reverberate in the communities and cultures down there to the point where you wouldn't need to do a goddamn thing because people would straighten out their goddamn fucking shit. Right? They would want to straighten out their shit because we're not trying to take away any of the things they truly love, and but we do have to show them things that they do love that are destroying them. And you have to, destroying them and destroying people around them, right? And we need to have an answer for things that do for people of that disposition. Maybe it doesn't need to be a mental institution, but it doesn't need to be jail. It's like I think we need 3 kinds of incarceration systems in this country. I think we need the best idea of criminal justice, detention, and all that we have now. Best of that we have now. I think that we need we need facilities for the mentally ill that, as long as they are not criminally mentally ill, except for maybe some fucking, some small crime that became the issue that why they're there, but they're not a bad person for reals, right? Sorta. You never know. Like, you're talking to somebody who's got split personality. You got problems because, especially if you're not trained in the belief of MK Ultra and like, hey, maybe this person's kind of fallen under, like, not the conspiracy MK Ultra, but just their life was kind of like an MK Ultra torture, and that's what made them crazy because, parents were projecting things that maybe were also like, like a lot of MK Ultra is crude dark sorcery, right? Because it asks you to be some sort of monster, and people can act just like some sort of monster one way or the fucking other. It's awful, right? You have to be a man of higher integrity. So anyway, my point is that this shit exists, right? And you got a problem in New York, right? And so you got people that they're not crazy. They're not crazy, but they're not doing anything that's a true violation of the law, like of natural law. But at the end of the day, it's just like, what do you do? Like, a lot of times we didn't do fucking jailing people and cops because we had exile rules, right? It's like you citizenize someone, you kick them out of your village, and then you're out in the wilderness. Like, there isn't that kind of thing per se anymore. The closest thing that comes to that are whatever forces in actuality compel loonies like these celebrities that have legitimately actually left America as promised, right? Like Rosie O'Donnell moving to Ireland, right? You know, Ellen DeGeneres moved to Britain. Yes, let the lesbian move to the Muslim country, and then she can see how she feels living amongst the muzzies about being herself, right? But oh wait, she's got the money to live amongst the upper class British society, which has a few black friends for her to keep her cred. But anyway, so you need an exile. You need an exile system, right? You know, something that gives the person the wish of being out of this world, but they don't get to escape the responsibility of things, and we're not going to be lured by you into taking your life like that, right? Because we have to acknowledge that we don't have a right to take his life. Like, it's a weird in-between place, but, you know, you need some sort of exile thing where you're not really prisoners, but, you know, it's kind of like a colony. It's like you're in a colony that doesn't have any rights. You have privileges that can be taken away on whether you... It's kind of like, it's free range, and people, but you're not under. So, like, I suppose in theory, you can't come back to the U.S., but you can go to other places. But we'd have to have our shit together, otherwise you're just going to cross an exposed border. And as long as we're split on nationalist versus globalist, which is the meta. Like the meta conversation happening in the fucking world is this: nationalist versus globalist. And it's an interesting split to see how certain peoples feel about certain things, right? There's a sort of a love and cathartic kind of vibe that comes from when you meet like a real person who way before Kanye West was acting, was talking shit. Like, listen, black hip-hop celebrity type people live in a world of talking shit in the zeitgeist to each other and doing all sorts of wild shit. Like, this is like you're watching. Okay, people know about the fucking magical Negro, right? This is why I do. Is Kanye West maybe an idiot? Maybe he's an idiot about a lot of things. So I can be quite the idiot too. Right? It happens. Because I have to be the one who decides I want to run my mouth in this world instead of keeping it shut, so that way I project my eminence upon you when I make my appearance. But anyway, because look at me, I'm perfect. You've never seen me make a mistake. I probably don't make mistakes. No, I make mistakes like every other fucking human being. Right? But anyway, Kanye West is one of these magical Negroes. Right? And so he's having a wizard's duel with another magical Negro. Right? Who, his savoir-faire, his charm, his galdor, right? This is hip-hop stars have, their God's gifts of the storyteller, right? This is Anansi, right? You're watching, spiders. Like, these are spiders that are at war with each other. If that's the way it works, right? So this is I understand this from paying a little bit of attention to the rap world. A little bit, because, you're in New York, and even though you're keeping to your headbanger buddies in New York, and that's your fucking world, your slice of the Big Apple, you got plenty of people that are crossover, I mean, the Anthrax crossover with Public Enemy, I think? Was it Public Enemy? That would not have been a thing if this wasn't a deeper subtextual truth to particularly the New York scene. Like, New York liberals and fucking LA liberals are not the same liberals. They kind of used to be, but where I feel like New York liberals, Northeast, like liberalism of the Northeast, it's kind of kept semi the same. Getting a little bit fucking abducted by the cultural narrative that took over the Democrat Party as a whole. So, it's just like whatever takes over the party platform becomes assimilated into the party. This happens with the Republicans as well. It's just the nature of the game in this respect, right? Because this is the consequences of democracy, right? It's also the consequences of our republic. Right? As a democratic republic. Hey, what's up, Peaceful? So yeah, the New York City subway systems are not going to get the millions, I think it's millions of dollars, that they want from Trump's administration of the federal government until they take heavy-duty fucking measures on crime and fares, which is fairly simple. Hire proper gate enforcement. And you might have to change the infrastructure of the gates, right? You're going to have to do these sweeps, and then you're going to have security there, and then all of that security is going to be kind of a band-aid until you've cleaned up the area more so, right? It's just like, I am not saying you have to do things exactly the way Rudy Giuliani did them, but you at least know that there's a functional aspect of doing the job right, in, you know, that you could just operate semi off of the Giuliani system. You know what I mean? If you take Rudolph Giuliani's, you know, like the way that he was able to implement his particular ideas, you have your particular ideas implemented the same way, right? You can do this all in a right and proper fashion. You know, you know, like, if you're gonna have white officers needing to strong arm, you know, black citizens because they choose to resist the orders. I mean, like, at the end of the day, it's like, you can give notice, you can let them know what's going on, and if they don't understand, it doesn't mean that their race is not intelligent. Right? It means that those people are not intelligent. Especially because they don't understand basics like state authority wants you to stop being here. You are a badly behaved person, disrupting the flow of travel for the ordinary citizens of the city, and our thousands and thousands of guests from elsewhere, and millions as a whole, or something like that, or like whatever number is approximately accurate. Approximate accurate, right? There's some double speak for you. See what politics just throws you into double speak in obnoxious ways. But anyway, so I think just because it's part of the lessons of the lessons of novelty in this world, I think that there's a certain level of disbelief happening amongst the city council of New York, right? And so I think that this will just have to be a certain level of reality for them. And you know, we're talking about these statements also, they exert, this is also a power exertion, right? In theory, this problem doesn't need to be fixed at all, but the conversation has flipped so hard because now we finally got enough people to give a fuck about these things, right? Because, like, it seems like everybody who is invested in the platform of the Democrat Party also has the worldview that that here are facts of the doom of things within our nation, and let's just keep going because at the very least we know these things will keep the nation itself intact, which is their code word for saying this protects all my foolish investments, and that you must pay the price for my foolish investments. And that is exactly the way you see this Congress, particularly in behavior. So, at any rate, we if you live in in New York, you are coming to realize, like, listen, we we used to have a country that was run in a way where the federal government couldn't do this to you. But also it meant that the federal government was never in a position to give you these levels of aid, right? But we continued to expand that, and we continued to ask for more. And if the city doesn't want to use state investments to build itself, then it has to succumb to the federal government. And if New York City wants to be an important American city, it has to have stuff happening there of national interest and global influence, and it's losing that. and that's a sign that America's losing it, because it's not quite picking up in other cities. Meaning these cities have not, in their power structures as internal influence, haven't been destroyed yet, but they aren't allowed to dictate policy like they were anymore. There's a lot of interesting things about it. It's too much. Like, there's no way to wrap this up in a clean way at this time, because I gotta go. So I'll catch you guys later, and maybe I'll be able to elaborate on this on my break.